Well, two school resource officers hailed as heroes long before they were tested under fire. Employment files show they went above and beyond training requirements. Atlanta News First Apalachee High has their story.
In an active shooter scenario, seconds matter. That's when officers say that their training kicks in. Right now, there's no statewide requirement, but that's changing with a new curriculum starting next year. Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith credits school resource officers Chase Boyd and Brandon King for helping save lives, getting to the suspected school shooter in minutes of the first shots.
They're the true heroes. They were actively looking. They had an alert. Shooting began. They interacted with the shooter, Mr. Gray, and as soon as they made contact with him, he gave up immediately.
Their files show each received extensive active shooter training. Not just one training, but several in the last year. Chris Harvey with the Georgia Peace Officers Safety and Training Council says in active shooter scenarios, you can't hesitate. You have to rely on your training to run towards gunfire.
Every second that ticks by, it can be another pull of the trigger.
Right now, active shooter training is not required in Georgia. It's a choice made by individual agencies. That choice requires time and money.
It shows the value of this kind of training needs to be in every officer's resume.
The Georgia Post Council is updating the state's curriculum, doubling the required hours and adding an active shooter requirement. The change will get all Georgia counties on the same page.
Whether you're in Bainbridge or you're in the mountains of North Georgia or you're in Carrollton or down in Sumter County, everyone is going to have the same level of professionalism that they, again, hopefully won't have to rely on.
The Georgia Post Council is still finishing up the curriculum. Those changes will take effect in January. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casores.